Hello again, beautiful people. Today on the show, why IGN probably needs to check if something's actually a press release or from the rumor mill, and 3 men escape from a Canadian jail using a helicopter. So that first one. Earlier today, Scott Rode kind of just laughed directly in IGN's face after they posted a quote-unquote confirmation that The Last Guardian is officially canceled. Scott Rode of Sony. He's the PlayStation software product development head. And Colin Moriarty tweets, "Sorry, y'all, The Last Guardian is no more." Colin Moriarty being the senior editor at IGN. Then linking to an article on IGN saying that the Last Guardian was canceled originally. They have now changed the title to The Last Guardian May Be Canceled. And it says that the original story was, while many at IGN may be eagerly hoping for the appearance of The Last Guardian at E3 this year, we won't be seeing the game anymore. IGN received a report this evening that The Last Guardian is finally canceled. According to an internal source speaking to IGN Russia, that's a little bit of a change. That wasn't there before. The information was disclosed in Sony's internal meeting last week. Now, yes, The Last Guardian has been... God, they showed that game off in 2009 at E3, so 4 or 5 years ago next week. But, man, like, when you hit the publish button, you may want to, like, check and see if there's been some kind of announcement about that. Or something, because then you just look really stupid. I mean, not to say that I give a shit about what IGN says anyway, because I haven't given a shit about anything they say. But when you have the PlayStation software product director literally saying, replying to you on Twitter saying, "Yasp and I laughed at this rumor over dinner. The Last Guardian has not been canceled." Yeah, just... I know it's E3 and you gotta grab headlines and stuff, but damn, check shit out. Like, you're just losing what little goodwill you have left. And that's not much, IGN. Now onto the much, much more interesting one that I dug up in CNN. Thank you, Feedly. 3 men escape from Canadian jail using helicopter, local media say. In a daring, movie-worthy operation, 3 men escaped from a Canadian jail by helicopter, prompting a massive manhunt. Now, it's interesting. Nobody knows how this exactly happened, so it's still all being investigated and stuff. 3 guys got out. They all have very ridiculous names. Yves, Denis, Yvonne, Lamontagne, Dennis, Lefebvre, I don't know, and Sergei Pomeraliu, 35, 53, and 49, respectively. But it's interesting that this is the second time in just over a year that this has happened. This also happened in March 2013. 2 men posing as tourists commandeered a helicopter from a Canadian tour company, ordered the pilot to fly over a detention center near Montreal, hoisted 2 inmates into the hovering aircraft using cables, and zipped away. Canada. Canada. What are you doing? 2 helicopter breakouts in a year. Canada. How do you come up with this shit? Like, how would you How could you pay somebody enough to have them hijack a helicopter and fly it over your jail? Why would somebody do that? Like, there's got to be a better way of getting out. I don't know. And now for the rambling part, because I'm not good at not rambling. And I don't have anybody to bounce things off of, so I can't do a TMS or Night Attack style podcast here. So I'm going to ramble about Guild Wars because I've been playing it a lot. And the game's fun. Guild Wars 2 is really, really fun. I'm getting more into the world versus world aspect, which is a really kind of cool thing that I didn't ever get in when I played World of Warcraft back in the day. And I know I think there's a few games that have that nowadays. I think Ion and Terra have it, like where servers and clans, like guilds on those servers, can all battle other guilds from other servers and stuff in a big open world. It's really cool. But the mechanics for it are, I don't know if it's quite fair because unless you're on a server cluster, because it's broken up to 3 in Guild Wars, Crystal something, Sorrow's Furnace, which I'm on, the other one that never is winning, but unless you're on the one that has all of the like big time the big time guilds that love world versus world, you're never going to win. Like, that map is almost constantly green because nobody plays from any other servers. I mean, yeah, you have some, like, I'm part of I joined a World v World guild just to test it, just to see how it would go and stuff, and we captured a couple points, but I mean, then suddenly 30 people come over the ridge and just decimate your 5. So it still seems really unbalanced there, and the structured PvP in the game is not something for me. So I don't know. I have some issues with Guild Wars in terms of some of the mechanics and the fact that ArenaNet kind of seems like they've not given up on it, but they just don't give a shit sometimes. Like, there's a world boss, which the world bosses are awesome events, and my laptop fan kicked in. The world bosses are these awesome events that happen on regular times, but different times per server, so it seems random since you get shuffled around between servers because of their big mega server thing. But they're just these massive bosses that you can just come upon in the world, and everybody can fight, and typically there's like big organized things because there's services that have these on timers and stuff like that. But it's really cool to see those. But there's one called the Mega Destroyer that's so bugged I've never been able to fight it because the prereq stuff never triggers. Like, I can try all I want, but it will never pop up. And we can do all the pre-stuff, and then we'll get into it, and when the Mega Destroyer is supposed to pop up, nothing happens. So I'm locked out from getting the achievements from that. I'm locked out from getting loot from that because they haven't gone and fixed the bug, and it's been like that since 2012. It kind of reminds me almost like I can't remember, is it Cryptic who did Neverwinter? I think it's Cryptic who did Neverwinter. But I mean, Cryptic has known about the bug in Clock Tower. The first dungeon you go into was in Neverwinter. They've known about the bug in that forever, and they've never fixed it. And I was never able to run that, even though it was supposed to be my daily dungeon on one of my lower level characters. I mean, just stuff like that. When companies don't fix the known bugs that have dozens of pages on forums talking about how it's still broken 2 years later, it just kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth about the game. And otherwise, the game's pretty awesome. I mean, it runs like shit on my computer, but everything runs like shit on my laptop. But the game itself, I mean, the community is so far. There's some dick measuring about right now dealing with WildStar and stuff, but that's neither here nor there. It's neither here nor there. They just ignore those people, hit the block button, and there you go. But the community has so far been really nice. I mean, if you say, outside of the PvP area, if you say, hey, I need help with something, I need to figure out how to do something, they will help you. And it goes back to my love of internet and gaming communities. Like, I still kind of have no idea what I'm doing in the game, even though I've put like 200 hours into it. And I have only done one dungeon, and I did it on accident because I was trying to finish up the main storyline in the game so far and kill a big thing. Well, I clicked the wrong thing, and instead of going to the story dungeon, I joined a party in the regular dungeon version of it. And it was the hardest dungeon, and they were taking the hardest path through that dungeon. And I died and screwed that party over probably 6 times. Like, I died a bunch, but I screwed the party itself over, and we did full wipes like 6 or 7 times. And I felt really bad, and I kept apologizing, and everybody was just, no, don't worry about it. It's cool. It's fine. We'll get you through this. We'll teach you how to do this and stuff. And they ended up all adding me as a friend, and we were trying to work out times to run dungeons again together and stuff, and so they can run me through all of them and teach me the ropes so we can start doing more stuff regularly. And I mean, it's really cool to see that kind of stuff happen, because I remember back in World of Warcraft, man, if you didn't have the right DPS, people would be all over you. I mean, if you didn't, I used to have, my main was a Death Knight, and if I didn't spec the right thing, I couldn't even get into a party. And in this, nobody cares. Everyone's just, okay, we'll just run this. I mean, we'll do it 4-man if we have to, if you don't know what you're doing. Which is pretty rad, and it doesn't happen very often, and it's really nice to see. It's very contrary to the League of Legends community, a game I will never play because of it. But that seems to happen a lot more in games, and I think, well, no, I think all of the 90% of the jackasses have moved to League of Legends and Call of Duty and Battlefield. But I don't know. I'm rambling about communities again, and I could go on for a couple hours. Instead, I'll talk about something else that's completely different from everything, and that's Spider Squid Productions, Patreon, and my goals for the next 6 months. It's June 8th right now, I think. So 6th last time I worked. Yeah, so it's June 8th. It's a Sunday. I believe it's June 8th. We're 6 months into the year, and I am nowhere near what I wanted to have done by now. And I kind of had that realization this morning before going to bed that I really have to get working on stuff. And part of that is getting things out regularly like this and Sky, which I'm recording as soon as I hit stop on this, and forcing myself to work more and getting dead posting, which I'm also relying on Max for, but they have their own things to do. They have plenty they're dealing with, and I'm okay with them taking time on it. But I also wanted to start once I actually can prove to people that, not that, and I don't think anybody looks at any of my stuff, that's the thing. When I can prove to people that I can actually do things on time and regularly, I want to start a Patreon to maybe start helping out with stuff, if not eventually being able to not make Night Attack or Daily Tech News Show money, because that's ridiculous. But, you know, a couple hundred a month eventually, to maybe so I can eat regularly. I don't know. I have a lot of ideas and no time to do them because of my job. And also my job is just killing me. Like, throwing around 100-pound boxes all night is not gonna end well. I mean, I'm a big girl, but it's still not gonna end well. And I'd like to actually do this for a living, podcasting and writing and drawing and doing all that stuff. Eventually doing more game reviews once I can get a decent computer that isn't a 3-year-old laptop. And stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. I'd like to do gaming stuff. I'd like to do actual reviews, not just Let's Plays, but like reviews full on of games. And I'd like to start doing this as a job and not have to rely on the place I work for to pay me barely above minimum wage and well, okay, it's not barely above minimum wage, it's $1 above minimum wage, I think. And then have to deal with the joys of I shouldn't complain too much because it's a job and that's more than I had 7 months ago, and it's better than a lot of people have, but my crew gets paid the least out of the entire store. And I understand that cashiers have to deal with a lot of shit. I've had to do that kind of stuff and I feel for them. But getting paid less than $10 an hour for doing freight is ridiculous. And we get paid less than cashiers. We get paid less than cart pullers who have fucking horrible jobs. We get paid less than anybody else in that store. We have equipment that doesn't work because the managers don't want to take... We're already over budget for repairs and they don't want to take it out. We're already at budget for repairs and stuff. And they don't want to take it out of the store because that will cut into their bonuses. The store over the last 4 months has made over $1 million every week. Or over the last 4 weeks has made $1 million every week. They then told us that we couldn't afford to buy new flags for when the customers are around and we have to operate machinery. The materials for those flags are around $10 to make a set of new flags. Like, for us to make them. What? I mean, I've said it before in a very, very old post, but I don't want to work as hard as I do to make company money and then get a fraction of a % of that back. Like, I sold just over $9,000 worth of stuff to a guy down in Texas. And for the 2.5 hours of work I put into that, I got $23 or whatever it was. And yeah, I get operating costs, all that crap, ordering materials and stuff. They probably made like $5,000. But still, I mean, 23 out of $5,000. And I'm the one who had to talk to the guy and deal with him being an asshole, like flat out. This guy was a prick and had to be nice to his face. And then collect his entire order for him because he didn't want to do any work himself, had to strap it all up and load it into the back of his truck and stuff for him. And I saw $23 for that. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to work a job that I utterly hate for no money and have it take away the energy and passion I have for the stuff I actually enjoy doing. Because that's a big part of the depression that eats into that, is working a shit job that I utterly hate because I can't get out of it. So I don't know. I'd like by the end of the year to have SSP actually at least paying for its own bandwidth, or not bandwidth but hosting, which is only $20 a month. But I've been paying that out of pocket for 4 years, give or on and off. When there was that 1.5 year hiatus there that we just let the site kind of die off. But I mean, the Squarespace 5 site is still somewhere in there that we could get to and find and get all the stuff off of it. And that's from 2009, so 5 years. I don't know. It's interesting how the world works now and what the internet can enable, and I'm hoping that people will like Dead, and then I love it. Every single time I see a page, I am in love with it because Max is doing an amazing job with it, and they've captured the characters better than I ever could. It looks really, really sweet, and I can't wait to start posting it, but we want to do it smart, so we're not gonna until we have a good buffer and all that kind of stuff done. And I'm going to continue with Sky, and I'm pushing really hard on that right now, trying to get everything written so I can continue recording. And I kind of like the shorter chunks because it's a bit easier. It's easier on me. It's easier on editing. I thought that doing a full chapter each time at like almost an hour an episode was going to be a good thing, but that's too much. It takes too long to edit that down, and it takes too much out of me to talk for that long trying to read and stutter. And I mean, it was like 3 hours worth of audio to get 45 minutes. It's a lot, and I can't really justify that. I can't justify doing that much for an hour when I can split that off and be able to produce it faster, and instead of once a month, putting it out 4 times a month or 3 times a month or something, whatever it takes. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna continue doing it small. Gonna start Dead soon. Gonna continue doing the Thursday throwback reviews of newish / older games that I just enjoy, and I'm gonna continue doing these because this is actually just a nice little self-therapy thing, even if nobody actually listens to it. But if you do listen to it, leave a comment. Like, just tell me that you listen, because it would actually be interesting to see if anybody does. And I'm not asking that for page views or anything. Fucking send a tweet at me or something. Just something. I'd like to see if anybody actually does listen to this crap, because it's really just me rambling about stuff, and I tried to do a TMS thing in the beginning, and I'm horrible at that, and so I'm just gonna leave that new sweet ass music that I chopped up a little bit. Creative Commons. I'll leave a link to the artist who did it and stuff, but yeah, that's about it. I'm starting to lose it, so see you next Sunday.